There's been a second night of clashes between refugees and police in the French town of Calais, as demolition teams have been moving in to destroy and remove a number of the makeshift encampments and homes that the refugees have created for themselves. I'm going to show you a video now, give you a sense of the jungle, as it's called, where the video is going to show a couple. And there's a woman and a man, and the woman is pregnant, and she is reportedly threatening to slash her own wrists if the police don't leave her alone. I'm going to quickly show you this video. It's pretty distressing, gives you a little bit of a sense of the jungle, gives you a sense of these encampments in Calais, and then we'll talk about it. This is something that's really not been covered by the mainstream media. It's not been covered, certainly in this country. Understandably so. It's something that it is top priority in the UK and top priority in France. And I think it's important for our viewers and important for a number of reasons, because I think it has repercussions on the immigration debate and on so many other things that we've been talking about here on the show. So I wanted to bring it to your attention, circle back on it. Joe, this is an encampment that approximately, numbers aren't 100% clear, but there's approximately 6,000 people, mostly from Middle East, Afghanistan, other distressed areas, Africa, other distressed areas of suffering conflict. They've congregated here in Calais. Just to state the blindingly obvious, Calais is a port that's 21 miles from the UK, and these people have got to France. They've managed to escape and flee their countries. They've got to France, but they don't want to claim asylum in France. They want to claim asylum in the UK, and they're trying to do everything that they can to get into the United Kingdom to claim asylum in the UK. And we can talk about that in a second. But just on these encampments, there's squalid conditions. It's very difficult to look at. It's very difficult to watch people living here. Some of these people have been there for a long time. And what's happened has been a mandate from Calais, from the city authorities, whereby they've got authority to go in and destroy upwards of 1,000 of these camps and move upwards of 1,000 people to another location. They're not kicking them out entirely, but to another location. The location that they've got for them is these shipping containers that they've rigged up and created for them to create housing.
So they're trying to move these people into living in shipping containers. This Calais jungle it's been there for years. Obviously, in recent years, recent months, it's become even more of a hub for these migrants to come into. It's become sort of a code that depicts what's going on with this migrant crisis. Banksy made reference to it with some of his artistic structures recently. It's obviously, as you mentioned, on the border where you get into the UK, or the port, sorry. And for this reason, it seems to be quite a controversial issue, because these people are in France. France doesn't want them there anymore. They've been there for long enough. France is trying to get rid of them, to try to move them along. They're saying it's also England's problem because they are there trying to get into the UK, but England is saying, well, they're not on our territory as yet. It's not our issue. But you've got this situation where it is a humanitarian issue. France is categorizing it as such. But you also have to ask the question as to why, if these people are fleeing war, if they are fleeing in terms of survival, why they are not happy to remain in France, why they are at this port trying to get into England in the first place.
Right. Well, there's a number of ways you can go with this, and you're right. I think it has become a flashpoint, particularly in Europe, and particularly in terms of polarizing the debate surrounding immigration. It's very easy for us to sit here, and it's very easy for observers to sit and ponder and postulate as to why people are what they're trying to do in the desperate situations. Nobody knows. What we can say is the following, is that the Calais authorities are depicting this as a humanitarian operation. It doesn't seem, from the images that we've seen, they've been firing tear gas in. The night before, they were firing tear gas into the area to try and disperse people as they were going in. The demolition teams were then sent in and were destroying these homes. They were setting fire to their own homes. You may ask yourselves, why are they setting fire to their own homes? Again, as part of the disruption, as part of to draw attention to their plight. The Calais authorities are depicting this operation as a humanitarian effort. And what they mean by that is that they are offering these refugees asylum status, or to apply for asylum status in France. So they're saying that this is not their way of just simply trying to disperse these people, or not their way of trying to sweep them under the carpet. This is their way of trying to offer them something a bit more meaningful than they currently have. And it's a way of trying to resolve the situation, as Joe indicates. The jungle has actually been there since 1992. It's in the last few months, in the last few years, since 2002, but obviously since the immigration crisis or the refugee crisis that we've seen over the last 18 months to 2 years, it's obviously gained greater prominence and the numbers have swelled. But it's been there a significant period of time, and it's always been a thorn in the side of the French authorities. So they're trying to find some kind of resolution. There is not going to be an easy resolution. When you have 6,000 desperate people encamped in squalid conditions, nothing is going to be palatable or easy. To come back to the question, why is it though that they don't want to be in France? Why is taking asylum in France a second best and an option that they would rather eschew rather than in favour of going for the UK? It's hard to say, but there are a number of reasons. Could be a number of factors. On the far right, they will always cite, well, it's welfare benefits. They get better welfare benefits they get in the UK than they would in France. Yes and no. They get certain benefits. It's not just a sort of a free handout that you get in the UK compared to nothing in France. France, you would get something like £56 a week, so around $75, $80 a week you would get as benefit. In the UK, it's probably something around $90 a week. So there is a financial disparity there. It could well be access to healthcare, could well be access to homing, to accommodation rather. But all of those options are available too. There's also the argument that, well, perhaps your asylum application is going to be more favourably handled in the UK compared with in France. It could also be a language issue. It could be a family issue. A lot of these people could have family in the United Kingdom and so wish to go to the United Kingdom for those reasons. It's hard to kind of lump them together. And what I want to avoid, I don't disagree with what you're saying. It seems on the outside, it seems as though this is a ridiculous situation. Why they fled these awful conditions? Shouldn't they just be happy where they are? And I think that there is some legitimacy there, but I think I want to caution us against lumping them all together, oversimplifying the situation and looking at something that is difficult to watch and say, well, why can't they just play ball like we want them to play ball, and aren't they happy with France? It's not, unfortunately, it's not that simple, and the resolution isn't that simple. There's no easy way to resolve this. One of the charity workers, there's a number of charities down there trying to observe the situation. One of the charity workers had this to say on Save the Children. They are just all incredibly worried and anxious. People are dispersing into the northern part of the camp. It's really just moving the problem to other camps, which are in a worse condition. No one wants the jungle to exist, but until you've worked with them, don't demolish the community structures that have been built up. As I said, this is something that has been years in the making. It is a very uncomfortable situation. It's also interesting that it has polarized people on both sides of the channel. It's polarized the politics very aggressively in a way that is not matched and mirrored in this country. It's more of a theoretical debate, I would argue, in terms of the immigrant population, in terms of dealing with the refugees. There is that theoretical element to it. Yes, there are migrants and immigrants and refugees coming to the United States, but they're not encamped. It's not physicalized in this way, and I think that really changes the debate, and that's why again I want to caution against being too broad brushed with our analysis.
Sure. However, when you do think about the US and the immigration problems here, you do think about a country like Mexico, and certain other countries in South America, where there are a lot of areas that are very dangerous, and people are crossing the border, coming into America in order to give their family hope for survival. When you look at France, when you look at Calais in particular, this is a very nice town. This is a very nice place, and some of these migrants have come through areas like Spain. But yes, to your point, you can't just brush it with a stereotypical brush like that. And also, we have to remember that they are often from English-speaking countries, right, and England would be better suited to them to live, to grow their family. But obviously, there are benefits. They will get money if they come to England as asylum seeker. As they do in France. So the point being there that it's not a purely financial choice that they're making. They're not just coming to the UK just because they don't get any money in France. It's what they want is a better life. These people are risking life and limb to do this. The statistics earlier over the summer was something like every 3 seconds or every 3 minutes, I think, somebody was dying trying to get into the United Kingdom through the Channel Tunnel or jumping on board on back of an articulated lorry or something like this. This is not a trip that these people take lightly, and so we don't think that we should be damning them or should be analysing with broad brush approaches, but clearly the jungle is something that is a highly incendiary situation, and they're trying to resolve it as best they can, but it doesn't seem there's going to be any simple solution.